Good evening from Plunkett Studios in Largo, Florida. I'm Scott.
I'm Abram.
And we are here with episode 502 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, for July 22nd, 2018. This show is a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. This week, Google is paying their dues, Facebook is suspending kids, and everyone is looking for $8 per month. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Google+, on any of our live stream platforms like Livestream, Periscope, Mixer, Twitch, Facebook Live, or YouTube Live, on any of the podcatchers like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the Podcast Play app in the Windows Store, or the myriad of other podcatchers, or of course on our apps. Plunkettslive.com/apps. Thank you for making us a part of your day. This here is F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, the flagship show on the Plunkett's Live family of content. We are live Sunday nights at about 9 p.m. I know we're running a little late tonight. We apologize for that. You can join us two different ways. The first is live on Sundays at plunkettslive.com/join us. There you will see the live stream and a chat room, and you can actually chat with us. The three best ways to chat with us this evening are on Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube Live. I can see all those here in the studio. That's the best way. And we love to get input live. That's the best part about watching live, especially during the Pilch Point, where we love to get input on the topic that Abram will talk about, which tonight is a little robot, which I cannot wait to see. I've known about it on Amazon for a little while, and I can't wait to hear Abram's take on it. If you can't join us live, that is okay. You can subscribe by going to plunkettslive.com/subscribe. There you will see all of our shows, including F5 Live, The Pilch Point, our special events, our First Look series, and more. And with that, Abram, how have you been this week?
Boy, it's been a busy week. a distractingly busy week. So we won't get into this in my segment tonight, but those who were listening to last week's segment know I had a lot to say about the keyboards on the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, and that I had bought 3 different models that did not have the same keyboard as the original one I tested, and I was going to publish my story about that, but I was hoping to get a comment from Lenovo, and I was hoping to see what the end of the story was for me. But I don't know how much longer I'm going to wait, because I sent it back to them and asked them to send me a new one with the correct keyboard and with the right keyboard. And so far, it's not looking good. It's so I hope to be publishing something about that this week, because it's very much been on my mind, particularly when one of the days of the week I worked from home and I used my home computer, which is 4 years old and has gotten increasingly slower over the last few months since the Spectre meltdown mitigations, and it was painfully slow, and I was like, oh man, I really wish I had a new laptop. Oh yeah, I first ordered one 2 months ago, and I still don't have one that I didn't return. So like, there's, it's a very frustrating situation.
Yeah.
In interesting news, and we obviously don't know yet exactly how, if at all, this will change our work life. But our parent company of Tom's Hardware, Perch, was purchased this week. The company Future PLC announced their intention to purchase us, although the deals won't close for a few weeks. But we will now be part. Then we will be part of the same company as a few other websites and publications that folks may have heard of, such as TechRadar and PC Gamer.
Wow.
And also, although it's no longer a website, Maximum PC, which they still run in print. So haven't really gotten to meet any of those folks yet. Just got it announced to us by our own CEO. But it will be, I'm hopeful that it's going to open up some really great new opportunities for us and for me personally to collaborate with some of the cool people who work for those other tech publications that will be joining us now. So I personally have, I mean, it's a shame that they no longer have the website, but I personally have been a huge fan of Maximum PC since from many years. So if I get to work with some of those folks, or who knows, maybe they'll let me write a guest article or something and get a byline, which is on my bucket list. That would be really cool also. So excited about it, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes once we're legally part of their company.
Their portfolio is unbelievable. I had no idea that some of these things were related to one another.
Yeah, they own a lot of publications, although most of them are in the UK.
Yeah. Interestingly, they own the UK versions of US brands that are owned by somebody else.
Really?
Yeah, which is fascinating.
Huh. All right. Well, I'll have to look at that offline. But
yeah.
But as far as
Tech Radar is something that's exciting. We have a mutual friend over there.
Yeah, as far as it means for Tom's Hardware, we're part of a large publishing company that does a lot of tech publishing.
Yeah.
And gives us a chance to work with to collaborate with some other really famous brands. So it's I'm excited to get to meet those people and see how we can help each other. So that's
that's pretty cool.
I just thought I'd mention that was in the news this week. I'm not telling anybody a secret. It's anyway, that was another thing that happened this week, in addition to frustrations about my computer.
Fair enough.
And then later in my segment we'll get into something cool I did this weekend. Very
cool. Well, we all look forward to seeing that. I just happen to be wearing a robot t-shirt tonight. I promise to our viewers, not planned, just a wonderful coincidence. But with that, let's get into some news. This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new Surface Book, an Xbox, games, apps, Microsoft has it all, and it doesn't just have to be Microsoft hardware and software. You can get the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. You can get some headphones and mouse and keyboard and all kinds of accessories for your digital life, all by going to f5live.tv/Microsoft. So I feel like there's no chance I'm about to reveal any information to anybody who watches this show. But this week, a very long-running story started back in 2014 seems to have come to a legal head in the European Union. In 2014, Google changed their policies on how Android licensing works, basically saying that if you wanted to incorporate the Google Play Store on an Android device, you also had to bundle a number of Google products. Now, if you remember, in the late 90s and early 2000s, Microsoft got in trouble kind of all over the world for doing something similar, but not necessarily requiring it. Though that never really quite went where this one did. The EU in 2016 opened an investigation into Google's policies for antitrust violations, and this week the European Commission issued a $5 billion fine for antitrust violations in regards to, in addition to, but mostly this policy. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. This policy is kind of responsible for the anti-fragmentation of Android over the last couple of years. Before 2014, anybody who used Android knew that if you could have two devices and they would be very different from one another. You couldn't even guarantee that an app would work. They could both be Android 3, and you couldn't guarantee that an app would work on both. Today, that's mostly a thing of the past. Not entirely, but mostly. You know, there are some exceptions. There are some apps that just go sideways on a particular handset for a variety of reasons. But in general, that seems to be a thing of the past. And Google Play, the consolidation of Google Play, especially the Google Play services, I think is a big part of that. So I don't know what might come out of this, Avram.
Okay, so here's what I don't really know about. You know, when I was a Tom's Guide and long back when laptop used to cover phones, I reviewed a fair number of Android phones. And you're right that it used to be the case that you had much more aggressive skinning and aggressive sort of first-party apps being put on the phones by manufacturers like HTC and LG and Samsung. However, these companies still put first-party apps on there. And back in the day. That, you know, like 4 or 5 years ago, when the skins were a little bit more unique, they all had the Google Play stuff on it. So it's not like any of these companies did not have Google Play on there.
Right.
Now, so I'm not really sure that it's gotten that much different in the last few years. I mean, Samsung, like, you know, I have a Samsung phone that I bought last year. It has a Samsung App Store on there. It has a Samsung browser that competes with Chrome. It's got Samsung versions of all kinds of software alongside the Google ones.
Yes.
And they're not necessarily any advantage to having the Samsung one. Like, the Samsung browser really does not have a good reason for existing.
Especially since to exist in the Android world, it has to use Google's rendering engine anyway.
I didn't realize that they absolutely had to do that. But anyway, yeah. So now, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they didn't always have to do the rendering. Well, the rendering engine or whatever. But you know, yes. I mean, the skins themselves have gotten less aggressive. Like, I remember, what was it? HTC's, was it Sense?
TouchSense, yeah.
TouchSense.
That got started in Windows Mobile years ago and came over to Android. Yeah.
TouchSense used to be like I actually am sad about what happened, because TouchSense used to actually be this like artistically different, beautiful looking, interface on top of Android, and then there was just a lot of negative feedback. Well, people don't like Android skins. So now everything sort of has an Android skin, but it's not as nice or as involved.
Right.
And, frankly, there are people downloading their own skins. I mean, that's what Microsoft wants you to do. They want you to install the Microsoft launcher, which I did.
Me too.
So I'm not really sure whether I like it or not. I just installed it so I could try the features that you need it for. So anyway, so I don't know if things have really changed much. Now, I assume what this lawsuit is about is really means is that they don't want Google bundling or like sort of cajoling manufacturers to bundle Chrome and Play and other and Gmail
Mm-hmm.
and Google Maps and all that stuff onto their Android phones.
They particularly don't want Google to require that the Google Search app be included just to be able to include Google Play.
Oh, so in other words, but you know, here's the thing. Nobody's required to have you could make an Android phone without Google Play.
That's true.
You know,
You absolutely could.
And I think there are companies that do, just not in the United States.
Yeah, it's the norm in China, for example.
Oh, and Amazon. Right?
Yeah.
Like Amazon Fire OS is exactly that.
Yes, it is.
You know,
And in reality, in the West, has been the only kind of successful implementation of that. But you know, Amazon has its own version of a monopoly ecosystem around it. So,
yeah. So I don't know. Listen, I don't like, monopolistic behavior, but I don't know if what Google is doing here is that crazy, because I mean, is because you're not to use Android, you're not required to use Google services.
right.
Android is an open source operating system, but if you want to have, right, but if you want to have, if you want to use one Google thing, then I guess you have to use another. I mean, but you're certainly not required. I mean, is this sort of, they feel like it's not fair to Microsoft or something, or are they worried about competition? Are they worried that it's unfair to Lycos or something? Like,
I would have to assume that they are ironically specifically concerned about Microsoft, which is funny because we were playing this exact same game 20 years ago and Microsoft was the bad guy. But whatever.
Right. With
Internet Explorer in Windows 98. Yeah.
By the way, I just checked. Lycos still exists. I have no idea who uses it. I think at one time it was based out of Spain. I don't know. But anyway, so the thing is, one of the things that's interesting to me is that back in 2000, 99, 2000, when Microsoft was bundling Internet Explorer they still are, but
right.
when that was an issue, when that was a big issue,
yes,
I honestly thought that it was a bad thing. A lot of people, I thought, now I think I can say mistakenly, that like people don't change defaults very often. So if the default browser is Internet Explorer and it comes on your operating system preloaded, that's what most people are going to use.
However, device manufacturers were allowed to install another browser and set it as the default.
But what was their incentive, right? Like, unless somebody paid them, right? It's so somebody like a Firefox, it doesn't, Mozilla, that is an open. Well, back then we were worried about Netscape, but like places that were, basically a nonprofit, like how much are they going to pay people to put their browser, to preload their browser on the PCs, and when for most people they're not going to be that discerning and they'll just use whatever is on there.
Yeah.
However,
Mozilla used to pay HP a lot to do it. Anyway, yes.
Right. Yes, but if I wanted to invent my own browser,
you weren't going to get anywhere with it. Exactly.
Rock Melt browser, or whatever other weird browsers are out there. Poor Opera. Anyway, but you know what? Here's a little interesting thing happened in the last, I don't know, 8 to 10 years. Google Chrome browser was not preloaded on Windows. and yet it is by far and away the most popular browser.
Yep.
So what does that say about user behavior?
Right.
Like, I guess people are willing to, if you make a better mousetrap, then people actually will go out of their way
To get stuck in it.
To install it. Like, you will succeed. I was honestly, I mean, granted, it's tied into the Google ecosystem.
Right.
So it's not exactly like some little rinky-dink operation that all they have is the browser. But
Firefox isn't too terribly far behind the Microsoft browsers at this point.
Yeah, I think I don't know, and depending on what website you look at, like on, I don't want to give away all the secrets, but I look at the traffic reports for some of our websites, and I believe, I mean, Chrome by far and away is the number one desktop browser that people visit with.
Yeah.
But I think that Firefox is ahead of IE and Edge.
From what I usually see, individually, yes. Together, no. That I don't know about. I don't know about Tom's Hardware or Tom's Guide or any of that in particular, but I know in general, if you look at it against IE or Edge, it beats it. If you look at it against Microsoft, it's like 1% behind, which is impressive.
Yeah. So how this relates to this Google lawsuit is, clearly if Bing was a superior search engine and people thought so, they would find a way to use it on their Android phones.
Which they actually do. Not so much in Europe, but it's actually incredibly popular on Android in the US all of a sudden.
So, if people, if you make a better service, people will use it.
Yes. It may take a little longer to get a foothold, but it can. And I'm totally with you. I thought that the Microsoft case was silly in the 90s, although it was a little different in that it was all about the fact that IE was part of the operating system, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
I thought that was silly then. I think this is silly now, and I think our regular viewers know my general feelings on Google, and I'm going to defend Google in this case. I don't think there's a problem here. They own some things, and they want a consistent experience. Okay, it doesn't mean that in Android's case. Okay, so the Google search app has to be included. Samsung also includes Bing. Okay, great, and pins it to the start screen instead of the Google. Okay, whatevs.
Now, to your point,
you do you. And if you want to change it, if you want to use Google and not Bing, widgets are real easy to change on Android.
Now, I know this isn't exactly the same thing, but frankly, it seems to me like Google has a better case against Microsoft right now with Cortana, right? Because Cortana is built into Windows 10. It is part of the operating system. You can't get rid of it. And it has access to things that no third-party software could have, like the ability to wake the computer. Right. So, like, even when you have Alexa integrated with Cortana, you have to have use Cortana to wake the computer and then get Alexa, right? So
interesting.
So Google for their Google Voice Assistant, maybe they've got a better anti-competitive case,
right,
antitrust case, whatever, against Microsoft. I've not heard of them expressing any anything about it.
Microsoft wasn't involved in this one against Google. That's just the EU doing what the EU does.
Yes. I'm just saying, though, that Google, if you're listening, maybe you have a case.
Mayhaps, though they don't tend to stir the pot the way,
Yeah.
say, Apple or Samsung does.
And maybe because Cortana has not proven to be a gangbuster success, nobody is really concerned about it.
Could be, yeah.
But I'm just saying what you just said about IE being built into the operating system could be said very firmly today about Cortana.
Yes, absolutely. It's the new IE, I guess.
Yeah.
This week's Pilch Point with Avram Pilch is proudly powered by Newegg.com. Whether you're looking for a screen or computer parts, or you're building your new machine, you've killed your monitor, or you're building your studio, Newegg is a great place to find the top parts for really inexpensive, and they run deals all the time. I know probably about half of the studio in here is built with parts that came from Newegg. So absolutely check out all of the deals that are available by going to pilchpoint.live/Newegg. Now, we're going to talk about some robot stuff.
Yes. So I have something actually cool to show everyone, a good show and tell here. My son and I built this on. It came from a kit though, so I can't say we built it from scratch or anything. This is the Elegoo. Yes, that's the name of the company. ELEGOO. Elegoo Smart Robot Car, version 3. Why version 3? I guess they had a 2 that had slightly different parts and a 1 that had slightly different parts and instructions. So, what's cool about this car? Which I got on Prime Day for $55, but it's usually about $70. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Newegg. You see, what's cool about it is this is an Arduino based car. So if you like Arduino and like learning about Arduino, here's like the Arduino board. Actually, it's a shield on top of it, and the board is below.
Okay.
If you like if you're like me and you want to learn about Arduino, you want to. I had talked with my son who's 6, so building something like this a little beyond his ability by himself, but about building our own sort of Arduino car for a while, and then I decided, you know what, we're probably not savvy enough yet. I'm not savvy enough yet to just buy all the parts and figure out exactly how to get it physically to work by myself. So I got this kit, and the kit has instructions that walk you through it. There's a series of YouTube videos that also walk you through it. The YouTube videos are better than the instructions are all PDF files. And one thing that's a little bit weird about it is they give it to you on a DVD. So fortunately, you can go to the website and download it. But if you don't have, but I guess they think people still have DVD drives.
Interesting.
Anyway, so what you get for this in this kit is you get a series of four DC motors that control these 4 wheels, which obviously comes with the wheels and all that. There's a motor driver module in here in the bottom. And then, so it has 2 layers of chassis, one on the bottom, one on the top. On the top here that's where the Arduino and Arduino Shield go. This is the battery case, and it comes with 2 rechargeable batteries that are a weird size. They're not AA or they're not AA's or AAA's, but they're shaped like extra large AA's. Like if a AA was twice the size. And then the other components it has here is this is a infrared detector, distance detector that you can use to avoid to make the car drive itself and avoid colliding with objects. There's an interesting name for this sensor too. I hadn't heard it before, but apparently it's a standard name for these. It's called an ultrasonic ranger.
I was going to say, it looks more like ultrasonic than it does infrared.
Okay, yes. So I guess it's ultrasonic. it is I guess I'm confused about how it works. It is a distance sensor.
Okay.
Uh, that it uses to avoid collision. So you can program it to go, oh, if it gets too close to something, it'll back up or it'll try to turn or something like that. Um, the On the bottom here, there is a line sensor that you can. They have a program you can use that will make it just follow a line that you draw on a piece of paper.
Okay.
Um, so there are many things, cars that can do those sorts of tricks. But what's neat about this is, besides the fact that you build it yourself from real parts, is you also got to program it yourself. So if you're looking for like a lot of robot kits I see, you have an app, and then after you put it together, it's like, great, I can use this as a remote control car now, and maybe I can program it using some special kid-friendly block-based coding language. This is a real Arduino thing that requires you to use the Arduino IDE to program it. It comes with a bunch of scripts to do the most important things. Oh, I also forgot. It comes with two other things it comes with besides the motors, the wheels, the ultrasonic ranger, the line sensor, the ultrasonic ranger, which actually turns on a servo motor here. It also comes with a infrared module here, and it comes with a little remote control. So you can use the remote control to control it, provided you install the right Arduino program for that. And it also comes with, and I have it disconnected right now, a Bluetooth module that you can use, because you have to take the Bluetooth module out when you connect it to your computer to upload Arduino programs. So I haven't quite figured out what the apps are, what things you use with the Arduino, with the Bluetooth module.
Sure.
But what's really cool from my perspective is I'm really wanting to learn more about how to program Arduino, and they give you the Arduino programs to do all these different things. So, but they also give you some explanation of how they work. Although I have to say that part could be better. They definitely are the technical documents are a little advanced. Assume that you know a lot, like particularly the one about using the remote control, which is infrared. Is all about the different frequencies and a little confusing to me. But and obviously my son, it was most excited when I just fixed it so he could drive it with a remote control, than watching me like type code into the screen, but on my computer. But I'm really psyched because like it's using a standard. It's using Arduino. As if people don't know, Arduino is what a lot of makers use to make robots, to make projects. And so what that means is, I can program things into this that the makers of it, that Elegoo never dreamed of, and I could also easily, although a lot of the pins on this have been used up by the motors that it's using, easily add things to it. So because it uses Arduino, I could easily take this board, and I could attach, like, I would like to attach a video camera to this so it could actually watch video of what it's seeing. Provided I could figure out how to like stick it up here and mount it, it's easy enough to attach it to the board and have it go. I'd like to take some colorful LED lights and string them, and use them to light up the car. Easy enough to do that also. So it's kind of, maybe I want to put a touch screen up here. I don't know. That'd be a little weird, but easy enough to do because this uses Arduino, arguably the most popular board for makers, although Raspberry Pi is up there too. For me, this is really cool and highly recommended. It is not, even though I bought it so my son and I could do it together, I did the 99% of the work. He was helping me screw it together. He did learn something, but you certainly, if you were handing this to a kid, you'd hand to do by themselves, unless they're a kid that has experience with Arduino and is, pretty good reader, pretty technical, I'm talking like maybe 12 or 13 or older. You're going to have to help them. But this wasn't necessarily made to be a kid's thing. It's really, made to be a hobbyist project. So, highly recommended the Elegoo smart car. Can get it on Newegg or Amazon, and it's a lot of fun and a good learning experience putting together. And I should say it took me about 3 hours to do the physical part of putting it together.
Okay. We actually, here in the Tampa area, we have a group called the Tampa Internet of Things Society. And one of the things we did, I think in 2017, was we built a small fleet of fighting robots. And we used a kit very similar to that as our base for the machine. So I can tell you from personal experience that a kit like that is perfect for adults, and because it's based on a standard. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it.
Yeah, that was my feeling. I mean, I had some ambitions about just buying wheels and trying to figure out what parts I needed rather than, getting a kit that makes it quote unquote, easier for you because you have everything you need and instructions on how to do it. But in the end, I was like, oh man, I'm never going to do it if I just try to buy parts. Because I think one of the more common things is what you really need the most is it's easy enough to buy an Arduino board and buy an IR sensor and things like that if you want. But man, trying to get a chassis that you can easily screw everything into, that has all the holes in the right places, that's a little bit more of a challenge. So, although there are places that'll sell you just the chassis, but anyway, so. Really cool. I really have enjoyed playing with it so far. I recommend it to anybody who wants a cool project, especially to learn about Arduino.
For sure. So, was this just a hobby project for you, or is this going to make an appearance on the site?
I may post a review of it. It's not a brand new product. It's been out the version 3 has been out for like a year, and other versions have been out for several years. So I don't know if we'll get a ton of traffic for posting if I posted a whole article about it. But it is recommended. So I may do a quick review of it because I do want our readers of Tom's Hardware and others to know about it, and that it's a really cool thing that they should definitely get.
And just because it's a name that not only you may not know sounds a little silly doesn't mean that it should be skipped.
No, listen, Elegoo, by the way, my son thought the name is hilarious. Every time I say Elegoo, he makes a street. He's like, Elegoo. They also make, if you look them up, they also make a number of other Arduino projects that you can do. They have starter kits and sensor kits and all kinds of stuff. So they actually have a pretty good reputation amongst those who buy these kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure. I think on Prime Day, including the kit that you have there, I think we tweeted out 6 or 7 links from Plugkits Live on deals on their stuff. So they're definitely a company I'm familiar with. And I'm with your son. It's a funny name.
Yeah, but it's not the worst. I encourage people to go through Amazon. If you want to laugh sometime, go through Amazon, look at like the Bluetooth speakers section and the USB cables and hubs and whatever. There's just a lot of small companies that I think they're just making up. They don't know. They're just making up some really odd names. I mean, I forget what they make, but there's a company on there called iDoodoo.
I remember that.
So, Elegoo sounds tame in comparison.
Absolutely. Well, as always, Avram, thank you for showing off. I love that kit. I've not gotten to use it in particular, but it's obviously a pretty cool kit. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Razer. Get all the accessories you need to up your game, whether it be on PC or console, from Razer. Whether you're looking for a great gaming mouse, like I use here in the studio, or you need a new keyboard, you need a whole computer. The Razer Blade Stealth is a great deal and comes with a headset right now. Or you need a great webcam with chroma key, green screening built in. All of that is available by going to f5live.tv/Razer. You know, I haven't personally tried that built-in chroma key stuff, but I kind of want to. Anyway, that's not what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about trends, and in particular, the trend of Battle Royale. Obviously, if you follow anything gaming, you know about the Battle Royale craze. Pretty much made popular by, not created by, but made popular by Player Unknown's Battleground, and captured, I would say, by Fortnite. PUBG may have made it popular, but I think Fortnite is winning the industry right now. So they're making so much money with it that even the big guys have gotten scared and involved. For example, at E3, we discovered that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was going to be adding a Battle Royale mode to the game called Blackout. I couldn't remember what it was called. And so one game that we weren't quite sure what was going to happen is Halo Infinite. It is a game that we know almost nothing about, short of a very short video from E3 that had no gameplay in it. That was about all we knew. And during a social stream on Mixer this week, the question was asked outright: will there be Battle Royale in Halo Infinite? And one of the writers on the series answered just as directly as the question was asked. I'll tell you right now, the only BR we're interested in is the battle rifle, the original BR. So calm yourself. Which seems like a pretty firm denial of Battle Royale in the new Halo game, which I think is a good thing. When the whole zombie craze came about, it started showing up everywhere, even places that it was inappropriate, like Call of Duty. And it's always nice to see a franchise say, you know what, we know who we are. We don't have interest in participating in that particular trend. I think the thing that Halo is good at is that kind of small team on team multiplayer. It's the reason why Microsoft couldn't shut down the old Xbox Live for way too long, because people were still playing on the original Xbox Halo 2. So, you know, it's the thing that the franchise is known for, and I'm glad to see that they're not, I don't know, falling victim to a trend. What do you think, Abram?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously success. You know, when companies see another company being successful, they're going to try the same thing. So I guess it's no surprise that other companies are trying to take, are trying to claim that mantle also. I mean,
yeah. And if you need any example of how popular it is to be trying to claim that mantle, go to your mobile phone, don't care what platform it is, and search for Battle Royale and just scroll through the results. It's unbelievable.
I mean, it's become a thing. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I'm wondering why it never happened before. Why nobody thought of this before.
I mean, we've seen this kind of this kind of game before. I mean, H1Z1 was out well before PUBG was. And there was a game, God, when was the last time I was at E3 with Cherie? 2011? There was a game that was shown off there that was 32 on 32, which is, 64 players. The Battle Royale is an average of 100. So, I mean, we were pretty close in 2011 to a very similar concept. I don't know why it took until PUBG for it to become popular, but that popularity certainly put cartoon-style dollar signs in some companies' eyes.
I mean, look, I'll be honest. When we write stories about Fortnite, they get, I think it's gotten a little bit lower over the last month or two.
Sure.
But when we would write any Tom's Hardware, Tom's Guide, laptop, anytime we'd write a story that was sort of related to Fortnite, like here's the best computers you could play Fortnite on, or here's some Fortnite tip, or here's some Fortnite tips, like they would get really good traffic because Fortnite, there's so much buzz around Fortnite.
Absolutely. I know just in the chat on Facebook right now, we have at least one Fortnite player.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of people playing Fortnite. I do think, like all trends, it will die down. Although, look, I mean, it has something that's fundamentally entertaining in a game. Like, I'll never forget when I was in college, and I won't even tell the folks here how long ago that was, but let me put it this way. We didn't have high-speed internet. In my college, we didn't even have real internet. We had I think BitNet or something. Like you could send email to people through a terminal. Anyway, so one day we went to visit my friend who went to Syracuse University, and they had really relatively good computers in their lab. And we all went to their computer lab, like 5 of us, and we all took floppy disks and we loaded Doom onto 5 computers next to each other, and we and we had like a LAN party. And I was so excited, like, wow, you can play with other people and you can like totally see who wins and have this battle and shoot each other up. Like, so that was a cool.
We did the same thing with Warcraft 2.
That was a cool idea a long time ago. So, why not take that? Why wouldn't that be popular?
Absolutely. It totally makes sense, but it's nice that not everybody is trying to do the King of the Hill you versus everybody kind of thing, because I think team play is still popular. I think it's kind of one of the earliest console style multiplayers was team versus team, and it's mostly what professional gaming is about. So it's nice to see that not everybody is rushing to try and get on the every man for himself gameplay.
Yep.
This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live is proudly powered by RiffTrax. Make fun of movies, or let the professionals do it for you, because that's what they do. The guys who used to do Mystery Science Theater 3000 are back and doing what they do best, making fun of movies. From blockbusters to no idea. They've obviously got a little bit of everything. The way it works is, for a couple of bucks, you download the MP3, play it along with your DVD, Netflix, wherever the movie happens to exist, and laugh. From time to time, they do mix it up and they do some live events. The next one is August 23rd. It is Krull, one of the silliest popular kind of sci-fi movies. It'll be a blast. They also offer short films, those kind of weird industry films, or long commercials, kind of, for a particular product or industry, and those can always be entertaining. I think longtime fans of the show know that the Springs is my favorite because it's so horrifying. Anyway, to find out what's available and get a birthday present from RiffTrax to you, it's RiffTrax 12th birthday. 12 years they've been doing this. You can get 20% off riffs and $12 gift card, obviously, conditions. You can find out about all of that by going to f5live.tv/RiffTrax with an X. I can't wait for Kroll. I know I say it every week, and it's still true. Anyway, so the internet has been an interesting place lately. We talked about it last week, and this week, a documentary-ish special came out on Channel 4 in the UK, I believe. The UK or Australia. UK, right? Yeah. Where they went undercover kind of inside of Facebook and discovered some interesting things about the way they maintain the site. And one of the things that they discovered was that while the company's policy is that if you are under 13 years old, you may not have a profile, they were not quite enforcing that. And the internal policy, not the official policy, but the internal policy was unless somebody was specifically reported for being underage, they didn't care. They wouldn't even look into it.
Well, how would they know?
Right?
Well, how would they know?
Right? There's definitely that. So, with that...
or are these people actually answering on the form when they fill in that they're under 13? Because I think it doesn't let you sign up if you do that.
That's correct.
Or does it ask for your parent or something? So, I mean, obviously kids lie. They obviously put in that they're older.
Absolutely.
And so who's going to verify that?
And so the answer to that question is that now, if because of this report on Channel 4, now if you are reported for anything, the reviewers will now look through content and make an educated guess on whether they believe you to be under 13. And if they believe that you are under 13, they will suspend your account until you can prove your age with a government-issued ID. Now, it's important to note that most places, if you don't have a driver's license, you probably don't have a government-issued ID other than your birth certificate. So this is going to... So even if you are 13, 14, this could get interesting real quick.
Well, don't do anything to get yourself suspended.
Or reported. So just in the time we've been on the air... a friend of mine on Facebook got reported for sharing something on Facebook that was a video on Facebook by a page on Watch. He got reported and the post was deleted. Not the video, just the post, for essentially for hate speech. So
I'm confused.
Yeah. So
a video about Facebook?
No, it wasn't about Facebook. It was about some school in England, and but somebody reported him, and a reviewer looked at it and deleted the post, despite the fact that the post didn't have any controversial content in it, because I saw the post earlier. Anyway, he was reported literally for nothing. So you might just post normal stuff and get reported, because that's the way people on Facebook have been lately.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you know what? I kind of look at this as a parent, and I'm like, if I could keep my child off of Facebook longer, that might be a good thing. Granted, there's other, Facebook now is they probably a lot of the kids think it's an old people platform anyway.
Well, right? This also applies to Instagram.
Which I know you know, there will, you know, everybody is worried about what, you know, what Facebook, what's gonna, you know, is Facebook doing enough to enforce, you know, whatever, you know, things about news and fake news and whatever. But you know what? There's a good chance that in a few years, Facebook, I'm telling you this right now. I think there's a good chance in a few years, Facebook will, you know, I don't know if Facebook is going to maintain its dominant position because, you know, these social networks are basically, you know, in a way they're hangouts. You go there because other people are there.
Yeah.
And generations of kids are very kind of fickle about their hangouts.
Absolutely.
I mean,
look where MySpace is today.
Right, exactly. I mean, like MySpace could have continued. You know, why is, you know, why isn't everybody still using ICQ or AOL Instant Messenger?
Right.
Or, you know, are the today's chat things fundamentally different?
No, most of them run on the same back-end technology.
You know, so really it's just all about, like, you know, what are the kids using these days? What are the influencers using? And so, you know, Twitter and Facebook, they did a good job of getting the influencers on early. Obviously, Google has done a very poor job of trying to convert people to its platform, but to its platforms, you know, like Google Plus and Hangouts, and I mean, what's the one they killed the other day? I mean,
did they kill another one?
Didn't they?
Because there was,
no, maybe I'm confused.
There was Wave before that.
Yeah, I mean, they can't, like, I don't know, they just can't stick with it or something. But anyway, you know, I'm telling you, Facebook may not, you know, it may not always be as popular as it is today.
Oh, absolutely. It'll get usurped. They all do. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if the new thing is better or worse. Something will usurp it. I think Facebook's goal is to purchase the thing that will usurp it, so that it won't be a problem. But I mean, that's why they bought Instagram. They were afraid that Instagram was going to come up and replace them with younger people, which it did, and so they bought it.
Right, that's true. So maybe they'll keep buying things, but you know, for now, basically, if they're driving these younger people off of the platform, they're accelerating their movement onto whatever the next platform is.
Absolutely. Now, it is important to remember that what is it, COPA? Was that the name of the law?
Yes.
COPA is at least partially responsible for the policy of 13 years old. Because,
yes, it's definitely responsible for that.
Yeah, because the weirdness of having another sign-up process where you've got to get somebody else involved, all of that just makes it way too complicated for most services to care. And then all the rules that we talked about, you know, with YouTube and Google Play and all that a couple of weeks ago, where you can't track or store any information. A social network that can't track information means that you can't save any of the posts. So it really makes, you know, somebody under 13 kind of impossible on a service like this, which is fine, but they're going to go somewhere because they're not going to not, as I think we all know.
Yeah. I mean, so, but I understand Facebook's position here too, because I mean, when I worked at About.com, while I was there, COPA was implemented, and you know, we definitely had some changes to make and some concerns because of COPA. Like you know, didn't want to have kids on the site.
Yep, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes, if it will affect them in any kind of negative way. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of government scrutiny on them right now, so this was kind of inevitable. I think it was just accelerated by this Channel 4 thing. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. Now, we know at this point, after Prime Day last week, everybody knows they get free shipping on Amazon Prime. But the benefits you may not know, especially if you're new, are things like Amazon Prime Music, where you get millions of tracks that you can stream for free on your phone, tablet, computer. You get Prime Video. There's movies and TV shows and HBO back catalog and all kinds of video content that's available already as part of your subscription. You also get Twitch Prime, which, if you're a fan of Twitch, is wonderful for a couple of reasons. The first is you get one free Prime subscription per month, which you could use to subscribe to us if you would like, at Plug Hits Live on Twitch. But you also get free games. Normally you get a couple of free games per month through Prime Day. You got a new free game every day. I think tonight might be the last day of that. But the free games are fantastic, and that's just part of it. There's all kinds of other features, Amazon Fresh and Prime Photos and stuff like that. And we have some of our favorite Prime features and a way to get a 30-day free trial if you do not already have it by going to f5live.tv/prime. Speaking of streaming, there are a couple of big players in the field of video streaming, right? We all know Netflix. We all know Hulu. We just talked about Prime Video. They're kind of your big guys. There are some more specialty services like CBS All Access, which, to the best of our knowledge, is right now just for Star Trek. But everybody seems to want to be getting involved. We talked, I think it was the end of last year, that Disney wanted to launch a Marvel and a Lucas branded streaming service, despite the fact that after their deal with Fox closes in the near future, they will be the majority shareholder of Hulu. They will own 60% of it, which is going to maybe make those decisions different. There's no telling. But this week, two more players showed up on the block in one way or another. The first is through a service called Vudu, which is owned by Walmart. They purchased it back in 2014, I think. It was a while back when they were just getting into the digital world. That and the Purple service, whose name I can't remember now, where you could bring in a DVD and you could get the digital copy for free by trading in the DVD. It was a weird thing. They bought both of those as a way to get into digital, and now they want to expand, turn Vudu from a place where you can buy and rent movies and TV shows on the individual to a subscription service as well. Obviously, right now that would be complicated, right? Because there are so many things that are exclusive to platforms. It seems like it would be pretty difficult to get enough content that people would care. What do you think?
What, for DC?
No, for Walmart's Vudu service to try and compete directly with the likes of Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon.
Yes, it would be difficult. It's so hard to keep track of all the companies doing it, because we also had DC this week, and
which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, so I think, they're obviously going to have to acquire some stuff. Now, what does that say? It says, if you spend the money, you can make good content. So, if Walmart wants to hire, or if they haven't already, good entertainment people like Netflix has hired and Amazon has hired, then they too can have at least one compelling show.
That's homegrown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what they will need.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you. I think if they don't go the homegrown route, then there's no way that they could license enough stuff to make it compelling on its own. I think in-house is the only way that they could make it compelling.
Yep. Absolutely necessary. I mean, that's what you need. I mean, like, there's channels that I honestly, like, I think about subscribing just because there's one show that I want to watch, and it's not worth it to me.
Right.
Except in the case of CBS All Access, where I did it for Discovery. And by the way, Discovery Season 2, the trailer is out now. But
yes,
anyway.
And there's an offshoot series, a mini series, 6 episodes, also coming to the CBS All Access. Anyway.
Okay. Wow. So that means I have to stay subscribed even longer. Anyway, so look, I mean, if they got a show that was really compelling, they could get people to subscribe that way. If they're just doing it by licensing content and showing some movies and shows that you can see elsewhere, I don't think they've got much of a case.
Yeah, I totally am with you there. And the flip side of that is DC Universe, which you've already alluded to, which is from DC Comics, which will be a streaming service that they announced and actually showed off in kind of a somewhere between an alpha and a beta build, that will be more like CBS All Access than it will be Netflix, in that it will basically all be homegrown content, including some original series that will be DC Universe exclusive right from the get-go, including Titans, Doom Patrol, and Swamp Thing. So Swamp Thing will be its own thing, and then Titans and Doom Patrol will be like a joint two series living together kind of thing, in the way that the CW DC stuff all exists in the same continuum. Arrow, Flash, Legends, and Supergirl.
The Arrowverse and Black Lightning.
Oh, yeah. That stuff all exists together. These two series, Titans and Doom Patrol, will exist together, and then everything else, they actually took a bit of a swipe at Marvel, saying we're under no obligation to make things work together. So.
See, I actually have stronger feelings about the DC's streaming play, because what you didn't mention is that you also get a whole library of comic books.
Yes. Now, it's important to note that the comic books will be rotating. So you don't necessarily get the whole collection at a given point. The books will rotate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be... I don't know. I'd be interested to see a comparison of it versus, say, Marvel Unlimited.
For sure.
Have you used Marvel Unlimited at all?
Yes, indeed.
So I had it for a while. I actually bought an annual subscription for my wife at one point.
Okay.
And I read some things on it, and it did have a fair amount of stuff that I was kind of interested in, but not enough. And it was always so many months behind that it was frustrating. But you knew that if you waited long enough, eventually, what you want to read would be
available. Yeah.
So I was real, interested in reading all the new Star Wars comics, and like they had the Batman comic, not the Batman. I'm really getting messed up now. they had the Darth Vader comic.
Okay.
And it was 8 months behind, what was on the newsstand or whatever.
Sure.
But every month it would get 1 month. Every month you'd continue. You'd just be 8 months behind. So,
fair enough.
I would really but I personally am more of a DC than Marvel fan. So
interesting.
Although their movies are terrible, but
Wonder Woman was pretty great.
Yes. Okay. That's an exception. That's an exception that I think everyone can agree upon.
We gotta give Warner Brothers props where it's deserved. They got one right.
I got one right, but I mean, like the Justice League, the Batman versus Superman, original Superman of Steel,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, um, not not good movies. Although oddly enough, my parents rented Justice League the other day and
Uh-huh.
told me that they really liked it,
Huh.
which is strange because they don't even normally like superhero movies. Like, yeah, we
Interesting.
really like that. But
Okay.
I was like, oh, have you seen the Avengers Infinity War or anything? And they're like, nah, that's boring or something like that.
Okay.
Listen, I gotta acknowledge excellence everywhere it has. I will watch any superhero movie that is good. But the
I'll usually
you
watch the
know,
bad ones too, but only once.
no, I watch them, but it doesn't mean that I have to like them.
There you go. Absolutely.
So, anyway, I don't know if we got this, but the point is, I think that the comic book content might be enough for people depending on how copious it is,
Yeah.
might be a selling enough.
Especially when you look at the way they want to do it. Like, for example, since the Titans TV series is going to be one of the launch series, it will launch with the Teen Titans comic books on the platform. So they definitely want to have like companion pieces to the live action and animated stuff on the platform. They want to try and have the companion books available as well, which I think is a pretty clever way to pair together. You know, if you're getting into the Titans TV series, reading the Teen Titans books gives you kind of some backstory before you get to where you are. So I think that's a clever way of doing it.
There was a lot of debate in the Perch office about the new. Yes, that's what you do when you have an office full of geeky people. Okay, there was a lot of debate about the relative merits of the Titans show based on the trailer.
Yeah, sure.
The people in I will say that I actually found, I'm not being super familiar with Teen Titans, not having read the comic, thought that it looked interesting, and I would try watching it.
Sure.
Other people were offended by it because they said that the characters were acting way too grown up and
fair enough,
and violent in it, and there was too much blood and things like that.
Well,
in the trailer,
it is definitely DC's attempt at capturing some of Deadpool's glory, because it is definitely adult oriented.
Yeah. At least it's not going to be on Freeform, right? So I mean, if I'm spending the money on the DC service, I would definitely try watching it. Like I said, occasionally the DC TV shows especially on CW, I don't care what anybody says, I love them. I watch them all immediately. I can't wait for the new one that's coming, the Batwoman show. But the there's they have some talented people there, so I think it's possible. Have you seen the new Shazam trailer?
I have.
That actually looks really good.
It certainly could be. He's a little strange to me, but that's a different thing. The guy from Chuck. But that's okay. Yeah, the content looks pretty good. Maybe they're getting their act together. We'll see. But yeah, everybody's looking for that $8 a month right now. I think DC has a play that might work, and I think Walmart has very little chance of succeeding. If the rumors on Walmart are true, then both of these services should launch later in the year. but obviously Walmart's all a rumor, and DC is totally confirmed. And that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. I saw some comments in the various chat rooms. If you were watching on Facebook, I apologize for not interacting with you. I know you were over there, but we can't see the chat in here because there's like a half a dozen of them. Anyway, yes, so there are two ways you can join us. If you joined us live, thank you. You can do that by going to plughitslive.com/join us. If you did not join us live, that is also okay. You can subscribe to this and all of our other shows by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you will see F5 Live, The Pilch Point, and more. And you can subscribe there or through your favorite podcatcher, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, doesn't matter. Wherever you are, we probably are as well. And if we're not, please let us know. Contact us on one of the social media channels and tell us where we are not, and we will work hard to make sure that we are. And I think with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Abram.
And we will see you guys back next week. Ciao.